Having been in the industry for so many years, probably like over 6 years right now, and having sold over $5 million in sales and literally losing all my profits that I made from dropshipping, restarting it back up from a scratch, from having like a complete reset to right now to the point where we are consistently making 100 to 150k a month for the past 6 months, consistently making relatively good income for myself. I want to share a bit with you like what actually changed in the industry and how I'm actually personally dealing with those challenges and changes that I face. So first thing first, in 2023, there was a point where I actually quit dropshipping for about 2 years. And one of the big reasons why I actually quit was because I lost too much money in testing. The old way of testing in terms of dropshipping wise doesn't really seem to work as well as it used to anymore. And personally for me, when I was in 2023, right, there was a month where I made about 6 figures in sales. There was about $25,000 in net profit. And I literally remember, right, the next 2 months, I lost about $15,000 in net profit from testing products. And how we used to test is basically, you will launch at one product per campaign. That is like how every single guru teaches us to test. You just spend like $50 per day, $20 per day, test a bunch of products, and you hope to find a winner, and then you scale that winner, and then you hope that the winner that you profited from can cover your testing and your team expenses and everything. And that was the way that people used to, go about dropshipping. But I think it's right now with that same strategy, I've seen personally for myself, it just really doesn't seem to work that well anymore. And also for many others as well, people losing like tens of thousands of dollars, not just thousands, man. Imagine like losing like 10, 20k to try to find a winning product. That is just like really not sustainable long term. And what really shifted for me was changing from that one product per campaign approach to one store per campaign approach. So instead of like spending and over investing in every single product you launch, you have one campaign on your store, and you're launching 30 new ads into that one campaign. All the products that you test on a separate campaign, you're launching that into one campaign, and you're basically telling Meta, you're telling the AI algorithm that, hey, you know what? Here's my campaign. I want you to find the winning ads from these 30 ads that I've uploaded today. And you're just like letting it rip, right? You're letting Meta say like, okay, you know what? This one is a winning product. We're gonna allocate more spend to that, and that is gonna be the product that is gonna be a winner for you. Because the thing is like, Meta, they have so much data and they know what is gonna be working and what's not gonna be working, right? So for yourself personally, why are you gonna try to spend so much money trying to see if this product works or that product works? Why not just let Meta do the hard work for you? Let them use the algorithm for you to use the tens of billions and hundreds of billions of dollars worth of data collected to skim through and see which advertisement is likely to convert. And what you're gonna find is, with this method of like having like one campaign per store, right? Meta, typically, right, out of like, say if you launch 30 ads every single day into that one campaign, they are only gonna spend the budget on maybe like 4 to 5 different ads. And this way, you have basically added like a new layer of verification into your campaign. You're letting Meta basically tell you which one is a winning product. And what you're gonna find is your starting return on advertising spend is gonna be so much more higher. In the past when I was testing, I would always be sure to lose money. You always hear people, like you gotta spend, like you gotta lose money to test. And that is true, right? You gotta spend a bit of money to find a winning product. But with this new strategy of like launching one campaign per store, right? Yeah, you're still losing money. Most of the time, in most markets that you sell in, the return on advertising spend is not gonna be like super high unless you know which markets to sell in. But in general, right, even like say like a bad market, you're not gonna lose as much money as like how people were testing in the past, with like one product per campaign. Because think about this, if you're testing 10 products a day with like $30 per day in advertising budget, that is $300 per day. Whereas for this one campaign strategy, you can start with like $50 per day. And you're just only increasing the budget when Meta has already validated that there's a few winning products. You're getting a very high return on advertising spend over the past 3 days, like say 2.5. Then you scale from $50 per day to $100 per day. Sure, it's gonna be a bit slower, But the thing is, you can compensate for the lack of speed by having more stores. So instead of like having like say like one store where you're testing $50 per day, you can have 5 stores, right? So you're spending $250 per day across 5 different markets, 5 different websites, and then you're using this strategy, scaling horizontally, to let Meta to optimize your advertising spend. So every single dollar that you're investing into advertising is much more likely to produce a more favorable outcome. And in this context, it is your return on advertising spend. It is just gonna be so much better than say like spending the $250 per day spend is gonna be so much more cost effective than say like testing 10 products at like $25 per day with one product per campaign. I guarantee you, your starting return on advertising spend is gonna be like at least twice. If you're testing one campaign per product, your on average, I'm just gonna make some numbers up, it's probably gonna be less than 1, maybe even 0.5 to 0.8 in terms of your overall return on advertising spend, say on like a store level. But if you're doing this strategy, what I just shared with you across a few markets, your return on advertising spend is probably gonna be anywhere from like 1.4 to like 1.7 across all the stores. And for me, with this strategy, I have stores where I'm literally profitable from day one, and we are scaling from, maybe not scaling, right? Maybe scaling from the second week, and then we have just been making 7 to 10K in monthly net profits. And I actually recorded like a live case study of one of my best performing stores in my previous video, so you can watch some of those content in my channel. So that's the first point, leveraging more of like AI and letting the algorithm decide which advertisement to spend on, rather than just like trying to throw darts on the wall, seeing this price a winner, that price a winner. That old method just doesn't seem to really work that well anymore, to be honest. Focusing more on untapped markets rather than just like the big 5 markets. So to be honest, right, I got a lot of success in the big 5 markets, US, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, mostly in US, Canada. What I've noticed, especially in my, if I look back at the past 5 months where most of the profits came from, they came from markets that not a lot of people are talking about. So these are markets that you won't be able to find on like YouTube, because people are just not really making videos about them. There's not a lot of dropshippers in there. And the thing is, you gotta be willing to find different countries to sell in. You gotta be willing to test different countries, because what you're gonna find is you're gonna have very different results. And in some cases, not every single time, of course, sometimes the results are just not that good. But in some cases, you find a market that is just like profitable right from day one, as I've done like quite a few times. And it really just comes down to, being willing to test and not being afraid. Because the thing about so many people I've spoken to, especially beginners, if you're starting on a shoestring budget, I kind of understand, because you want to pick the best market. But if you're someone with like a little bit more budget to spend, just be willing to test like some random markets that people are not talking about. As long as you know that you can ship to that country, you have the payment processors that they are commonly using within the country. Yeah, be willing to try it. Because I've seen like so many beginners, they're just waiting to be spoon-fed. They're like, yo, Gary, can you share with me what's the best market? And I'm like, no, go and figure that out yourself. Like, I spend so much money finding this good market for myself. You think I'm gonna increase the competition for myself? Are you out of your mind? And that's the thing as well, being willing to test more untapped markets, especially the way that we teach, because we have like so many stores concurrently running at once. This is really ideal for us. And that is also like how I recommend people to actually start doing drop shipping. And this is just what has been this is just honestly what has been working really well for me. And then the last thing that I also want to share is, if you test in a new market and the results are not that good, be willing to kill fast. All right. So personally for me, I'll let a new store run for anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks using our exact campaign setup that we teach in our channel and in our community. If it's not like breaking even after say like 3 to 4 weeks, or it doesn't show any signs of being able to be at least at a level where it's breaking even, then I'll just like move on to a new market. And that is how you can consistently find new profitable markets to add into your repertoire of stores that are profitable. And this is also how we kind of like do things, and how we have been able to scale to consistent 6-figure months. And if you want to learn more about basically how I do fashion dropshipping, how I find products, how I launch my ads, how I set up my website and everything, I actually created a free course here on YouTube. It's gonna be the link down in the description box below. And if you want to join my free community where I'm giving out alpha, when I'm literally helping people every single day, answering questions, the link is gonna be in the pinned comment box below. I highly recommend you join if you haven't yet. That's when you can get like the most insights, and I'm also sharing a lot of like wins and things that I don't really share here on YouTube. So if you're new to my YouTube channel as well, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.